Hello, so today I have this one is 2001 Mercedes E55 AMG, and the chassis code is W210, W210, and then I'm trying to go over some of the stuff that you guys need to check out when you're trying to buy one of these used, as these are used to be very expensive when they were brand new, but now because of depreciation and this is a luxury car, you can scope one of these very cheap. And you see a lot of the regular E-Class like E500, E320 out in the market all the time. So let's go with some of the inside features. As you can see, I don't have the proper floor mats, but that's what it is. This one has a two-tone leather, perforated leather, so they got holes in it. And I think regular E-Class just comes with flat leather. They come in different colors. I've seen black, brown. I've seen one that was like red and black instead of gray and black, and I've seen one that was blue and black too, and I believe those are stock as well. I've seen flat black as well. And as you can see, I'm gonna go with the back seat first. And sorry for car being messy. I haven't had a chance to clean it. This is a center armrest, and if you take this out, there's a, well, there are tissues here, but that's a cup holder, and if you pull it out more, there's supposed to be factory first aid kit in there. Obviously, it's not here. This is the center vent for the rear seat. The same temperature as the master temperature comes out of there. Ashtray here. Wow, that's how it works. Window switch. I believe some of these have rear heated seats, which you would have the heated seats control over there. I believe none of these came with rear seat adjustments, unfortunately. And on the rear, you got headrests that are for 3 passengers. And you got the rear sun blind, which all these are automatically adjustable from front. I don't know why, but that is what it is. On the front, let's get in here. You got a little bit of feature. Considering this is same generation as you know, B5 Audis or E39, the interior I would say is a little bit behind. It's very plain looking. The dash is boring. The dash is way far back, and as you can see, the actual dash is pretty short. It's really small, so you have this very spacious area on the front, which is nice. A lot of things, well, one of the things Mercedes does differently is they have the seat control on the door panels. Same for the driver's seat. And you have the seat memory, 3 of them for the passenger as well, which is cool. And it is, you can make this adjustable, front go up and back and up and down as well, and you can make the headrest go up and down as well, which is cool. And you got the seatbelt adjustment here. I don't know if it works, probably does. You got door windows, door switches here. It's like older classic BMWs. This is the key for it, which I think is better looking than any other 3 German competitors for this era. The wipers are, you have the automatic wiper mode. We got the rain sensor, I think either here or here. And then for some of the vehicles, you have the lumbar adjustment for the front 2 seats and for the passenger as well. You got a vacuum, you got a motor pump underneath the seat that can adjust seats lumbar supports for you. I believe these are 2 at the back. This is the one for your thighs, and this is the lumbars. And then you can hear a little blow off noise if you turn them off. This is the trunk release. This is the side mirror adjustment, and then it has that reverse mode where you put in reverse and that tilts down. The windows are automatic up and down for all 4 windows, which is nice. Got the glove box here, which is pretty small. On the top, you got sun visor with mirrors inside. You got two lights and the reading light as well, and the sunroof or the moonroof is automatic, and you can make it tilt up and down as well. On the airbag, you got the airbag on the steering wheel, on the passenger dash, all 4 doors, and air curtains. So you have a lot of airbags inside. And this is the cup holder, which is really cool. You push it in and it goes in, and you touch it and it comes out. It's really cool because it actually works, unlike other cup holders from other German cars. You got this 2 center console cargo, which this one has an air vent in it. So if you turn on the AC, this would actually work as a small refrigerator. Or if you turn on the heater, then it works as a heater compartment. You can open it or close it, up to you. You got the air, AC unit here, which is pretty simple. You got the rest function, which is nice. You got heated seats. Some of these have cooling seats, which you have at the gauge here and here if you have that cooling seats. And you got the headlight washer and all that cool stuff. Steering wheel has a multi-function for volume. You got cruise control here. You got low beam, and then you got front and rear, which I'm gonna call it fog lights, which is cool. The parking brake is here, which is kind of hideous. And the steering wheel is all adjustable as well. And that's about all the interior function. You can check the engine oil level from the inside through the function here. Yeah, you can check the oil level. You just gotta make sure vehicle is at level. And this button here adjusts the rear sunshade automatically. And this one, as you can see, the rear headrests are really high up. So if you look at the, whatchamacallit, rear window, your headrests are about blocking half of it. So if you push that button, it does that, which I think is very funny. What I do all the time is I have my rear passenger, rest their head on it, and then I floor the car while I push that button and breaks their neck. So that's about all the interior features. Some of these came with Bose stereo, some of these did not. Speakers are okay in my opinion. You got cigarette lighter here, and then some kind of ashtray here, which you can take it out to clean it. But that is about it for the inside features. So let me pop the hood and show you what's inside underneath the hood. Unfortunately, let me get better lighting. Unfortunately, this one did not come with the monoblock, the stock wheels, which are nice. So that is what's underneath the hood. This is the E55, so it's got the 5.5 liter V8, and you got 16 spark plugs for a V8, so you got 2 spark plugs and wires per cylinder, which is cool to get better fuel economy, although it does not get a good fuel economy at all. What's interesting is you can have only 1 spark plug working, and the car will run almost perfectly fine. You got the hood service mode here, which is also nice. So you can make it go to do that, which is cool. If you take the cover off, you can see some of the engine. As you can see, this is a secondary air pump for emission. You got oil filter housing. You actually have oil cooler if you have the E55. Got water pump down there, clutch fan, radiator, coolant tank, brake reservoir. You got this complicated brake assist system here, which basically allows you to push on the brake pedal harder. That's it. You got ABS module, which is made by Bosch, just like any other German cars. And that's about it. You got the 2 intakes. You have the mass airflow sensor back there. If you just take that out, you can see all the engine in it. It comes with a 5-speed Mercedes Benz in-house automatic transmission, which I believe is the identical transmission they use for earlier SRT8 models for Dodge and Chrysler, which is also interesting. So you got the slap shift which you can, adjust, select the gear that you want. Here you got some of the emission and AC unit maintenance information. The battery is in the middle. So now I'm going to jack up the car. Well, not jack it. I'm going to lift it up on the sky, and then we're going to look underneath what's underneath the car. Now, car is up on the air. We're going to look underneath. This is the rare and desirable front bumper. As you can see, it's cracked a little bit, but it was only available 2001, 2002, 55 AMG. A little bit aggressive look. Let's look at the front suspension. You got the lower control arm ball joint here, which is very weird because it's pretty easily serviceable. You just take this bolt off, take that bolt off, comes right off. You got the Bilstein shocks from factory, I believe, for the E55 AMG. And you got the spring here. So you don't have the coilover suspension system. You have the spring pad design front and back. So they're a little bit more easier to work on, I guess. What's really interesting is, despite having automatic transmission and open differential, Mercedes decided to use the floating rotor brake system and dual piston for the E55 AMG, which makes it really expensive if you want to replace the front rotors, because the cheapest you can get is about like $500 for a front pair, just the rotors. You got massive brakes here, brake caliper here. The brakes are actually fantastic on these cars. The steering rack is here, tie rod here, and the steering rack is here. The steering is pretty light. You got pretty thick sway bar. That looks like it's at least 27 millimeter. You got 2 catalytic converters, O2 sensors. Surprisingly, I'm really surprised that Mercedes actually doesn't have a lot of leak. This car being almost 200,000 miles, and you see there is hardly any leak on the oil and transmission. All this fluids that you're seeing is just water dropping. So you got the lower control arm, wishbone on the bottom. I believe the top is also double wishbone, so you have the double wishbone front suspension design, although the top upper control arm is very small. And you got the motor mounts here, transmission mount back here. This is that 5-speed Mercedes in-house automatic transmission. As you can see, it doesn't have any leak, which is interesting. Now coming behind here, a similar design. You got the spring pad, spring shock, stabilizer bar, and you got the sway bar. Oh, I don't have a sway bar. Oh, there is a sway bar here, up here. Probably pretty bitch to replace if you have to replace it. And this is a lateral link bar, and you have the adjustable toe adjustable bar here. Got muffler hanger. The differentials they're prone to leak, so I heard they leak a lot, and it's unfortunately this one, as you can see, leaked to some point, and it probably is leaking. It probably stopped leaking because there's not a lot of fluid in there. Something I should check. You got the differential mounts over here, rear subframe mounts. You know what's interesting is, despite having so much power for the E55 or E500, the suspension design is basically identical for every E-Class. So I believe the only thing that's different in terms of suspension on the E55 AMG is you have different shocks. That's it. So control arms, upper control arms, bushings, everything is identical. So now what you have an issue is, the bigger the engine that you have, oftentimes the owners, they're gonna like to floor it, brake hard, all that stuff, and you got a lot more torque to play with. So a lot of these bigger engine models tend to have oftentimes have a destroyed suspension. All the bushings, everything is all toasted. Unfortunately, this one is actually in a really good shape. Nothing is loose. All the bushings are in place and everything's good. So that's something that you want to look for. Same with the motor mount, transmission mount, because every time you floor this car, this thing tilts and moves a lot. So you got oil pan here, drain plug here, and I mean that's about it. The one thing that I heard notorious for these cars are the rust issue. I don't know what it is. Maybe the paint they did at the Mercedes wasn't so good, and often the common rust spot is, you know, down here by the side skirt or the fender well, gas cap, blah blah blah. And one thing that you should check for is the spring pad. I don't know if my light's bright enough, but that area where the upper spring pad is welded to the frame, I heard that part comes off all the time due to rust. And that's about it. I don't know. I did some research on it, and I hardly ever found any notorious engine or drivetrain issues on these cars. Unlike the supercharged models, these naturally aspirated older E55 AMG are known to be pretty bulletproof, and this one is a good example of it. The previous owner just daily drove the car for decades and almost has 200,000 miles. No issue whatsoever. And he said he's been driving like 5 years without having to do anything, just changing fluids, and that's all he did. And that's why these are pretty desirable, I guess, because they're pretty bulletproof. I know how sloppy I am. I'm pretty sure I forgot a lot of the things. You got glass headlights. Wow, glass fog lights too. These are the headlight washers. They do work, which is cool. I don't know if it actually cleaned anything. As you can see, it's pretty faded. Glass headlights are. Yeah, other than that, it's surprisingly bulletproof drivetrain and car, except the rust issue. So there's not much stuff that I really need to cover. It's not like you know, they don't have that kind of issue like Porsche 911 AMS bearing or that kind of notorious every car is gonna get it one day, that kind of issue, which is really cool. Because you don't, when you think of Mercedes, the last thing that you think is they're reliable, but the maintenance cost could be a little high because parts are a little bit expensive, and you know, instead of changing 8 spark plugs, you got to change 16 of them. Then you got to change these wires too, so every time you do spark plugs, it's like $300 just for parts. But other than that, everything is very solid on this car. Very good. Some of them do have parking distance sensor, which you would have it where that heated seat, oh no, you would have it next to the trunk release button. You got the auxiliary water pump. As you can see, the main water pump for the engine is over there. This one is used motorized. It's a motor that pumps water, hot water, to the cabin, so when you have the rest function on, you get that hot air for 15-20 minutes, which is a nice feature. So I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some of the stuff. I always do, and I know these are not very often, you know, these are not a common car, but the car overall, like E320, E500, E430, they're everywhere. So if you have some of the things that you want to share, you want to add, you can add to the comment section. And if I have misinformed anything, please let me know. And thanks for watching.